Move on to this Russiagate story,
Sure.
where former FBI attorney to plead guilty for altering emails in the Russia probe, and this guy is Kevin Kleinsmith. And it's a very, I think, interesting part of the Russiagate saga here, Will, where we wonder how did they get this FISA warrant on Carter Page, and it turns out that it took quite a bit of lies and trickery. So, what do you think of this plea deal, and why isn't it getting as much attention as, let's say, when Flynn made a plea deal in 2017?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's clear why they don't want to give this too much attention, because this is like one of the clearest cases, I think, where they really they were doing underhanded things to get these warrants to spy on the Trump campaign. I mean, in this case, you had this Kleinsmith guy omitting the fact that Page, who was a campaign advisor for the 2016 Trump campaign, this Kleinsmith guy had omitted information in this FISA application that Page had worked for the CIA, that he had been a source and was known to them, and sort of had been kind of vetted to them. So in trying to spy on Page, they're trying to, they leave off this fact that he had a relationship with the CIA, and trying to sell him as some kind of mysterious Russian asset that was flying under the radar. So I think that's why they don't want to give it too much attention. I mean, you are seeing it, of course, covered in some of the more conservative media, which has been covering a lot of this stuff about the FBI and the FISA malfeasance that happened. But I mean, the fact that this Kleinsmith guy altered this document, we've known this since last year. I mean, the DOJ Inspector General report had uncovered this, and 17, I think in total, 17 areas where the FBI omitted information or misled the FISA court in their pursuing authorization to spy on the Trump campaign. So we've known about this omission for a while, specifically with this Kleinsmith guy. However, the most recent thing is, that he's expected to plead guilty. I don't think he actually has made his plea yet, and I'm not even totally sure when the hearing is, when he's supposed to make that. But he is now, according to these reports, expected to plead guilty.
Right, and we have statements out from his own attorney here saying
Right.
that that's going to be the case. Part of the coverage that I find so interesting, Will, is how generous it is towards him. Even in the Politico article, which I think is probably the most thorough that I've read. They kind of go, well, his lawyer says it was an accident, and they really never challenge that. When, as you say, he deliberately changed the wording of the document, and so he was a CIA. Page was essentially a CIA asset. He was approached by some Russians. He went to the CIA and was like, look, hey guys, whatever I could do to help the U.S. national security. The CIA informed the FBI of this to inform the FISA court. And then rather the guy decided that he would have the FISA court or email to his supervisor a version of that CIA document that specifically says that Carter Page may be a Russian asset, when the CIA specifically said that no, he wasn't. He was our asset. It's absurd. And, I think the level of scrutiny this should receive, as this was Donald Trump's presidential campaign, and then his administration that we're talking about spying on here with this FISA warrant. This isn't just making up evidence to spy on some random drug dealer, which, look, everybody gets the Fourth Amendment, I'm not saying, but spying on presidents is a big deal. And it just gets away with it. So, well, I guess this is the first indictment produced from Durham. And I will say, I think he already has a better record than Bob Mueller, because, look, this guy is actually indicted on something to do with Russiagate, not something to do with something else, just about everybody else was in the Mueller probe. And it does seem like, there's something here. But what do you think, Will? Do you think we're going to gain more from John Durham?
I mean, I certainly hope so. I think we've heard the Attorney General, say that more will come out before the election. I think he said by November more is supposed to come out. I don't know what that means, though. If that means some more information or more indictments. If you go and read the charging document, though, for this Kleinsmith guy, it does seem it's very narrow. It doesn't seem like they're, at least in this one case, and maybe they're just doing that to be safe in order to get a conviction or something. They don't want to spoil it by making it too ambitious. But it seems like they're keeping it very narrowly focused on this Kleinsmith guy. They're not tying it into like the broader FBI plot. Clearly, the plot to bring down the Trump campaign or to find dirt or whatever, these things that we see with Michael Flynn and Carter Page and all this. And so the charging document is staying narrow. I'm not sure if that indicates though that they're going to try to keep it focused on this Kleinsmith guy and he's going to be the fall man for all this, or whether they just did that to keep it not too ambitious so they can actually pursue this in court.
Yeah, I'm hoping so much that we get some real information to come out here because at this point I think one of the only ways that more and more Americans will accept that Russiagate was a hoax is if this does go to court and then you get some official court documents that's like John Brennan did something illegal, James Comey did something illegal. And so that's what I'm hoping for. I think our friend Joanne Leone has been a little bit more optimistic about this than I have, and we've had a lot of conversations, me and her, and then the three of us about that topic. But I don't think there's any reason to just be pessimistic and say, we're not going to get anything else. And hopefully things, there was like that, was the guy's name, Stephen Scrange a couple weeks ago that Matt Taibbi published one of his op-eds, and there's supposed to be more. Where he's arguing that, hey, look, everyone, like there's a lot here, and I'm gonna help, to facilitate that coming out. And so it's not a closed deal that it's not gonna get better, but John Durham is the guy, as I point out so many times on the show, that helped to cover up the Bush torture program, and so I don't think there's any reason that we should assume he's gonna, be an honest actor in all this. Will, anything else on Russiagate? Hopefully, I guess that, eventually we do get the truth and then, we could tell everybody I told you so with court documents.
Right, yeah, to what you just said, I think I would just add that, like, I kind of take your position. I'm not super optimistic that, like, the DOJ itself or this Durham probe is going to unearth that much. I mean, they've launched, like, I think 3 or 4 separate probes, apparently, into the whole Russiagate thing, the Trump administration. We haven't really seen much from, I mean, Horowitz had that report, but even in that IG report, he was fairly, like, easy on them. He said, like, oh, there was no evidence of political bias and all this stuff. So I'm a little skeptical that, like, we will get, the ultimate truth from the DOJ or something, or from one of these probes. However, like you said, with that Scrange guy, maybe there are more people out there like that who will, start creeping out of the woodwork with new revelations that we wouldn't have learned from the DOJ.
Right. Or, if Trump's down in the polls, maybe the guy gets desperate and is like, or you got to start throwing some bombs. But